I'm back as promised about the journey of my book. The number one update I want to give you today, really interesting, is well, this is not my book, it's someone else's book, but you get the point, right? I'm here as I promised that once a week or maybe once in 10 days, I'll be here sharing with you the journey of me writing my book. But before we get into all that, right, the number one update I want to give you today, really interesting, is I got a title of my book. Yes, yeah. And it took me a while to do. What is it? I'm not telling you yet. I'm not because it's 99.99% almost there. There could be a 0.001% that it might change. But the key point of making this video is I want to share with you 3 things that I've been going through, very important, that maybe you are going through it as well, and this might help you in writing a book. If you're enjoying this video so far, just give me a like, okay? Otherwise, let's continue. So what's happening here is I have decided to write a book. I have decided to write a book, and the last few months there has been a lot of ups and downs into me thinking, should I write a book, should I not write a book? And there's been all this thing going on, right? But I got an inspiration from one of the books, and the book that I got an inspiration from is Think and Grow Rich. There's a lesson in here that I want to share with you that helps me in writing my book. But let me share a bit of a story behind this book for you. There's an important lesson coming up. Now, you see, Napoleon Hill spent 20 years in actually researching to write this book. And it's a classic of all time, right? Spent 20 years. And when I was reading this book, and I was like, 20 years of research. This guy must have had so much determination, so much persistence of just doing whatever it took, right? And that's the lesson I took. I decided to write a book December 2019. I announced to the world that it's coming out in August 2020. And along this way, I had ups and downs, and I was like, I'm not sure which is a good thing to do. But you know what? If he can take 20 years to write a book, what is 6 months, man? Nothing. So that's the lesson number 1 I got. Keep going. You'll face up and down, but keep going. And you will reach that destination. I'm at the early stages of writing a book. I'm declaring it to you that I am writing a book. You hold me accountable, but I'm going to keep going. And that's the lesson that I learned. Keep going. What's lesson number 2? Lesson number 2 is very, very profound, right? So I'm thinking all this time, what do I write? I'm researching, I'm reading other books, I'm getting inspiration from a book like this, I'm getting an inspiration from books like The Magic of Thinking Big, I'm getting an inspiration from a book like The Go-Giver. And this book really taught me the second lesson. And what this lesson is about, it's just give. The more you give, the more you'll get, right? But what do I give, right? So I'm like, what do I put in the book? What do I give in the book, right? And combine these 2 books, I combined together. I said, this book is about sharing stories, and this book is about giving. So if I give my personal stories to people about how I made success, that would be a great story, right? So lesson number 2 here is, what I learned from here is, I'm going to share my story very openly in the book of the success I have achieved. So you know exactly what you can do to get that success. And that was the lesson that I learned, that I don't have to think too much about what to write in a book. It's my story. I'm going to share openly about the success I've had. So if you're feeling what to write in the book, right? Share your story. This guy, Napoleon Hill, he's sharing people's story. A big classic, big hit, all-time hit, right? So you can share your story as well. And let me know, comment below, what's your story, what's your book? I'll buy your book, I'll read your book, right? So yeah, comment below, okay? So that's lesson number 2. So number 3 lesson, what is it? So right now, what's going on in my mind, maybe it's going on in yours as well, is I'm probably overthinking about, how to write. I know now what I'm going to share, I know the title, but how do I structure the book, right? It's like there's so many missing pieces here. Like just imagine this, right? You're thinking about something so important to you and you're like, okay, I got a piece here, I got a piece here. How do I put all this together so that I can convey the story in a very concise and to the point that I'm adding value. So I'm going through all of that, right? Third lesson that I learned is really structuring the book. How did I learn this is, you see, these people here, when they share their stuff, they're sharing in the form of their stories, like I said, but they sort of make it like a very, you can follow the story all along. It's like you're there in the book. And that's what I want to bring out in there, in my book here as well, right? When I came to Australia like 15 years ago, virtually nothing. And along this way, I've gone to a world champion, winning the world champion award of closing over millions of dollars in sales, right? Millions of dollars. I want to show people how to close $1 million. That's a good story to share. How do I got success in my corporate life? How did I build multiple That's a lot of these success stories. I want to put it in a timeline. So I'm thinking that this is just talking out loud. It might be something that you are thinking as well, whether how do you structure your book? Maybe this is the way that you want to do, right? Just put it into events and share people the stories along the way. I'm going to do that. So you know where I was and how I grew up in terms of my success. So you can get success as well. Okay, I hope you're enjoying this video. If you are, let me know. Okay, I would really love to know what your stories are. Like I said earlier, just comment below. I would love to read your book as well. But you can see that just by thinking of a book, writing a book and just sharing this, we are actually connecting. And that's what I want to leave you with is ABC, always be connecting. Till the next video. Bye.